Robinson protests in the UK right now.
See, I don't know enough about that story other than the fact that a bunch of people are mad at me on Twitter for not talking about it.
For not talking about it?
I saw it. I was like, I don't even know what that is. I'm going to back away. And then I saw it was something about he was filming outside of a trial of Muslim pedophiles.
Yeah,
Is that what
there are these grooming gangs? Yeah,
grooming gangs.
Yeah,
where tell me the whole story.
So I don't want to do this as if I'm the freaking lawyer of the whole thing, but in effect, he was filming outside of the trial for this group of men that are raping. They're raping like 12 and 13-year-old girls. Basically, they're on trial. He had already been on probation or something for something else. And you're not allowed to film outside a courthouse. So technically, I suppose he is in jail now for the right reasons. But there's a lot of people that think he's not going to survive being in jail. And I had the guy on my show. Have you ever talked to him?
No, I didn't know anything about him until this thing happened.
Yeah, I mean,
there's too much to pay attention to.
No, I know it's a lot. It's all the time,
man. Can't keep up on everything.
No, I know.
I have shit to do. I have kids. I have hobbies.
Don't you have to occasionally just pick one and you're like, this one?
Dude, there's a lot of them I just don't know. I don't know what's going on. Like people go, how come you're not commenting on this? I'm like, I didn't even know about it, you fuck.
I know.
Jesus.
I love that when you sit out something on Twitter for 6 hours and people start screaming at you like, that proves
Where
it. You didn't say anything about it.
Yeah, you talk all day long about this and that, but then this comes up and you don't hear a word. I'm like, I didn't even hear about it until just now.
Yeah. Well, all right, let's not dive too deep in that. But quick on Jones, though. So I'm not actually, in case you think I am, I'm not giving you shit for doing it. I'm just curious. Okay. I'm just curious because I think part of the article that Barry Weiss wrote in the Times about us, she was talking about that. And there's a line in there where she said, if you talk to these people, meaning Jones and Cernovich and Molyneux, that you're either cynical or stupid. And in effect, that was a shot at me and you. It wasn't a shot at anybody else because they don't have to talk to other people. You know what I mean? Like, I love Eric and Brett Weinstein.
Is that what she said? You're either cynical
the line
or stupid?
We can probably find the line, but it was that you'd have to be cynical or stupid.
I would argue that. I mean, argue against that because I don't think you have to be either cynical or stupid. You just have to be a person talking to someone. Just because you're talking to someone doesn't mean you agree with them.
Yeah.
This idea of giving someone a platform, like I'm going to have Ted Nugent on the podcast, right?
You obviously endorse everything he's ever said.
That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah,
if you have him on, that's the only way to look at
Rogan,
it.
Rogan, that's it.
How come you can't just talk to the guy and find out, like Candace Owens? I don't agree with everything Candace Owens says.
Yeah,
I don't agree with a lot of it.
Yeah.
And this is nothing wrong with having a conversation like that. In fact, it's illuminating. What do you got here?
Let's find
what are you pulling up?
The line. This is from the Times piece.
Okay. It says, it seems to me that if you're willing to sit across from an Alex Jones or Mike Cernovich and take them seriously, there's a high probability that you're either cynical or stupid.
Now,
if there's a reason for shorting the IDW, it's the inability of certain members to see this as a fatal error.
So that's Rogan and Rubin.
But here's the thing.
What that's saying.
Well, I get it. There's definitely some things you can criticize about me. But
I have the list right here.
But here's the thing. If you're saying I'm taking him seriously, I got Alex high and drunk, and he started talking about interdimensional child molesters. Like, if anything, it showed people who he really is. Like, I've known the guy forever. I've partied with that dude. I've had him come to my comedy shows. We've gotten fucked up and ran around the town and went to bars together. Back before everybody knew who he was, too. Yeah. We could go places. He's a fun guy. I don't believe everything he believes. I think he's silly in a lot of ways, but I like a lot of people that I don't agree with. I don't have to agree with them. I didn't know about his Sandy Hook denial. If I did, it would have been the first thing I pressed him on.
Yeah.
When I talked to him, I wanted to do it with my crazy friend Eddie Bravo because he believes every fucking conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get him with Alex together. And it was the clusterfuck that I hoped it would be.
It was.
But the good thing about it is it showed people who Alex really is.
Yeah.
It showed a side of him that you just don't get from his InfoWars show. You get to see him high and laughing and drunk and pounding whiskey and fucking around. And people are like, oh, I could see why you like that guy. I could see why he's fun. We had a good time together.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I endorse his opinions on things. And the idea that this is only red or white, that it is 1 or 0, it's binary. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think that's ridiculous.
I just didn't, those two choices of adjectives, I just thought were slightly, like you could say.
She's defending her position.
Yeah.
I think she's doing a smart thing because she's a writer for the New York Times. I do have a lot of ridiculous people on, and you have had ridiculous people on too.
Absolutely.
So what she's saying makes sense if you take them seriously, but she left that caveat, if you take them seriously. I do not take Alex Jones's opinion on interdimensional child molesters seriously. I don't. His opinion, I only smoke pot once a year to test to see what George Soros has done with the marijuana.
Right.
Like George Soros is giving the marijuana fucking dosage recommendations. Like, that's
I'm pretty
ridiculous.
sure Roseanne told me that too. But,
well, she thinks that's another thing. I don't know what to do with her now. She thinks she apologized for that, but she said George Soros was a Nazi or something.
Yeah, I saw the apology.
He was captured by the Nazis. I mean, he was like.
Well, anyway, this
conspiracies.
This gatekeeping thing. I just think it's interesting because if we're going to do what we do well at whatever level we do it, it's like we're going to have to talk to people that people don't like. And
listen,
look, Larry King. This is the one thing I always say. It's like Larry King in his heyday. Think of the prime Larry King, right? So 1991 CNN primetime.
Yeah,
he could have. The O.J. Simpson lawyers on Monday. He could have the cast of Seinfeld on Tuesday. He could have a magician on Wednesday. He could have Lucille Ball if she was still alive on Thursday. And then, George, the Secretary of State or something. So no one thought he endorsed all of those ideas or was friends with all of those people. But I think somehow now because this feels like your home, mine is actually in my home. The way we're different, we're friendlier. We're not sitting here with note cards and with IFBs, and it doesn't feel all produced and planned and all that. Even though I think we both do a hell of a fucking professional show that I think we're both really proud of. I think because of that, they think, now you're seeing the real them, or something like that. Like it's something.
I just think they're looking for shit to complain about.
Yeah,
listen,
that might be the easiest way.
One of the reasons why I decided to do a podcast in the first place because I wanted to be able to do whatever I wanted. I wanted to be able to talk to my friends, have a good time, fuck around. Along the line, it became something different. And along the line, it became not just talking to my friends, it became talking to people that are famous or interesting people or professors or writers or whoever it is. And I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm doing this. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. If I want to talk to, and if you don't like who I'm talking to, it's super simple. You just don't listen to that episode and go, oh, Rogan, you're alt-right now. All you have is alt-right people. You think you're balanced out because you have Abby Martin on once a year? Like, I just think I talk to people. I talk to a lot of people. I like talking to people. I like talking to people I agree with, and I occasionally talk to people I disagree with, and I get something out of that too.